had was we had a potential breakout right here, right? So you had the market get above, let me put in some trend lines here. So this was a previous pivot and we kind of got above there,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And so we got above here, we retested, we then went up, and then the fact of the matter is we came right back in it. You could almost look at it like right here. I mean, once this
Mm-hmm.
couldn't hold the breakout above this high, that
Right.
was a bearish indicator. Now, wow. I mean, it is nuts out there, absolutely. And really what's going on is FTX is a borderline failing and essentially that thing has collapsed. I mean, it's just remarkable. I'm trying to bring up my chart right now, but the collapse in that alone is spooking everyone. Everyone's having deja vu with Terra Luna, right? We know Terra
Right.
Luna collapsed. Here you have FTX. Now it is bouncing off the lows, got as low as about 275. It's back to over $5, but still down from 22 on the day. And
Insane.
that is an epic collapse and it's spooking the whole crypto market. And again, this is just one more thing that the crypto market knows that regulation is coming. And
Mm-hmm.
the more things like this happen, the scarier the regulation potentially becomes for the overall market. So again, it's a monster drop, and yeah, I mean, look at Solana, Avalanche. I mean, there's just everything is just getting hammered. I heard something like that too, and then we saw a bounce in Binance plus in
Bitcoin.
FTX, and then it all just went away and it
Yeah.
collapsed even further. So it makes me wonder what the real narrative is here, what's the real story, and so I'm just waiting to hear facts, hear more stuff later today. Yeah, so the midterms are today, and by the way, I got to throw this one out there, and this is a crazy one, but basically 1 year ago today the highest close on Bitcoin occurred November 8th, 2021. 1 year later, this is where we are in the crypto markets. Obviously, having panic in here. In addition, last night we had a red blood moon, full moon, whatever it is. And I mean, just that alone, you have to wonder. I mean, there's weird impacts that the moon, the lunar cycle can give you. And sure enough, we're seeing some of the craziness today. So just some crazy stuff going on here. But I think ultimately, you have to be careful of FTX because we know what happened to Terra Luna. I don't know the leverage that these companies have on their balance sheets because honestly, we don't have the transparency that a stock company has to report, right?
Mm.
So be careful. I still think there's opportunities in panic on other cryptocurrencies, but you have to be careful, trade small. Yeah, so I mean, the results should be out Eastern time, probably by about 10 o'clock at night, maybe a little bit later. But it's very possible that we will not know who holds the House and Senate until tomorrow. Because if they're close races, they're going to have to do a recount, they'll do all that kind of stuff. And so it could be till tomorrow. So I think the markets want a split government. The market likes kind of the inability for either side to push through new regulation. And I think that's what the market's hoping for, no doubt about it. But I think, again, there are opportunities in crypto, but you got to be really careful, be very, very careful in this environment. Yeah, so let's take a look. So we'll look at the Bitcoin chart. And basically, what we had was we had a potential breakout right here, right? So you had the market get above, let me put in some trend lines here. So this was a previous pivot, and we kind of got above there,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And so we got above here, we retested, we then went up, and then the fact of the matter is we came right back in it. You could almost look at it like right here. I mean, once this
Mm-hmm.
couldn't hold the breakout above this high, that
Right.
was a bearish indicator. Now, again, did I know that we were going to have this type of collapse? No. I mean, again, this is an epic drop in crypto as a whole. But I do think that you could see the fact that you had a breakout here that
Yeah.
confirmed and it wasn't able to hold and you basically went back below. That's never a good sign. Yep. Yeah, I think
Definitely.
that's what's amazing. So I mean, you could argue that Bitcoin's holding on, right? Because even on the flush, you could see that we just retraced to this trend line. See this green line sloping down through this pivot and right through here. And we broke out above it and we retraced back to it and we're actually holding that line. So that's a small positive. If that continues to hold, I think that's good. If you actually were to get by the end of the closing day, which is I think 7 p.m. Eastern time here, if you get back to this trend line and close right on this trend line, that would be another short-term bullish signal. So it was a nasty flush, but there are some hopes. There's some hope here that Bitcoin can recover just a little bit. There is a possibility, right? So I think that the Republicans are kind of the less likely to regulate harshly group. So I think that that is definitely a possibility there. Although I do think that the SEC is the one that's mostly in control here. So we have to respect that. And that may mean that it doesn't matter who controls the houses of government in the US. Now, having said that, we have to also look and say, the seasonality side of things. I agree that oftentimes you'll see that Christmas rally, that Santa Claus rally, but we have to watch and see what goes on here with Terra. I mean, not Terra Luna, but FTX, right? I mean, a Freudian slip there in a weird way. But I think this is the thing: is that does this start a chain reaction? I don't think it will, because Terra Luna's. I mean, FTX wasn't as big as Terra Luna, but I do also think that investors just need to be cautious here. I still have a downside target of 12 to 13,000 on Bitcoin, maybe even lower than that. And this, unfortunately, this could be the start. I'm watching those trend lines we just watched to see where it closes. I mean, if anything, you've made this long bear flag going back to June, and here we are in November. So, I mean, this is one of the longer bear flags that I've seen. It's very reminiscent. I mean, if we go back to 2000, let me show my chart here. If we go back to 2018, we had a very, very similar period in crypto where you basically went from here sideways for, let's see how long, from June as well. So June all the way until November. So June to November sideways, and then you broke down. Now that's kind of crazy, right? I didn't realize that it was going to align quite like that. But basically, this is almost mimicking what we saw. So, and then we saw the breakdown. So we got to just be careful. I don't necessarily know if it will, be exactly like it was back then, but we do want to be careful. I am on the bandwagon that the initial reaction to the Republicans, even taking one of the houses, right? I mean, because if one goes one way, one goes the other, then they're deadlocked anyways. But I think that, yes, that would be a very short-term positive. But I will tell you this, is that as soon as we get a day or two out of these elections, the markets are going to focus back in on the CPI on Thursday and then all the data coming up, plus the Fed decision in December. And I honestly think that that's way more important than the overall markets. I really do. I think that's going to be the driving force. And I'm not so optimistic about a Christmas rally this year. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I'm not super optimistic. So S&P is still, last I checked, was still slightly green on the day, but what a sell-off on an intraday basis. I got to show you guys, let me bring up my chart here and show you the intraday, because basically when crypto was dumping, we saw a sympathy drop in the S&P, right? And basically what this was panic in the crypto markets that then was being kind of pervasive and spreading. It was a contagion event where the collapses in these cryptos then spread into stocks. Now, again, in the stock market, it didn't turn out to be a huge move like in crypto, but it does show you the connection of the crypto market to the stock market, because humans are both in crypto and in stocks. And so when you see your crypto collapse and you're seeing, oh my goodness, I'm down 30, 40, 50% here, you obviously are going to be a little nervous about holding your stocks in the meantime. So a lot of people sold. Now, we've seen a bounce in crypto, and we're also seeing a bounce in the S&P 500. Now, on the daily chart, what we can see is we're hovering in kind of a bearish pattern here, just underneath a lot of resistance. So this is kind of a little bit of a scary pattern going into the election results, I'm going to be honest with you, where I do think the markets are going to have another leg lower. I just don't know if we rally up into this resistance first on the election results, and then the CPI maybe takes us down.